Good evening, everyone. This is Carolina Weather Authority's meteorologist Joshua Nagelberg. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and went off the grid a little bit here, but I knew I was going to be coming back to some very active weather in the tropics. We unfortunately have what I think is going to be our strongest storm of the season. And yes, it's November, and that would be very fitting to 2020, wouldn't it? By the way, the Philippines got hit by a major super typhoon just a couple of days ago. Goni, I believe, Goni. So we could have two of the biggest catastrophes in the world from hurricanes hitting within just a couple of days of each other, and it is November. I'm going to say almost November. It is November. In fact, it got dark at 5 here at my house, so definitely signs of November. So anyway, let's talk about Hurricane Eta. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, so that you could be filled in on what's going on here with the latest in the tropics. And shake the rust off here. This is a very serious situation unfolding for Central America. We are looking at on the verge of having a Category 5 hurricane, which is a very rare event. Only maybe 3% of hurricanes make it up to Category 5. The last one we had was Dorian last year. For those of you who remember Hurricane Mitch in 1998, this could look a little bit similar, but this is also something that is going to be very slow to develop. The forecast is going to change quite a bit, and there's a lot of weak steering out there, so a lot of time in the United States for things to change. Having said that, I've seen a couple of more consistent models, and even the European model, which is one that we have not seen perform as well as maybe it has in the past, grabbing onto what could be a major storm in the Gulf of Mexico here in about 10 or 11 days. Not saying that's going to happen. Of course, that's more than 10 days out, but the GFS has been showing kind of a similar tune, and what we've seen change over the last few days to now is that we've got ourselves a very powerful storm, first of all, so we don't have to worry about it being in formation stage, but second, a trend for the storm that once it moves over land, it's going to weaken pretty quickly. It'll hit some mountainous areas in here, but it's going to take out a lot of population in this area with a lot of devastating flooding, unfortunately. And then models are now showing it reemerging into the very warm Northwest Caribbean, where we've seen some rapid development happen. So this one could fall apart quickly and then regenerate very quickly as well and just come back from the dead. And then after that, we definitely have something that we're going to be watching in Cuba, the Bahamas, and the southeastern United States, as well as maybe the Yucatan, unfortunately, as well. So these are the main bullet points. Without getting too specific, because there's still way too much uncertainty, we are going to see widespread devastation across Nicaragua here the next few days, Honduras as well, and remaining countries in Central America. Maybe parts of Belize, parts of Guatemala, El Salvador, southeastern Mexico, maybe even northern parts of Costa Rica. The amount of rain is going to be very significant, several feet of potential rain. The winds at the coast and storm surge are going to wipe out entire populations here. Unfortunately, it looks like in northeastern Nicaragua, as this part of the world does see major hurricanes from time to time, but this is going to be kind of an unprecedented storm for these folks. And then we're talking about the likelihood that the storm re-strengthens. How much, of course, will depend on what form it's in once it re-emerges over the weekend into early next week. After that, there are a lot of question marks as to what's going to happen, but all the models are showing a turn more to the north, and that, of course, puts the southeastern United States at least on alert. Really tough to say at this point where, but the pattern has favored the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, and I've got to leave that option open. Louisiana on eastward. Florida certainly sticks out, and we've been lucky in Florida so far, but we may not be at this point. Cuba certainly sticks out, the Bahamas, and even if this track goes on the right side of this, it will produce more very heavy rain for southeastern Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, unfortunately, maybe Dominican Republic, as this is going to be a very large storm, kind of disorganized after it comes offshore, but we'll have a chance to reorganize again. The Hurricane Center continues to show rapidly intensifying Category 4, almost a 5 hurricane. Winds are 150 miles per hour. This time yesterday they were 65, I believe. So we've seen this storm just the bottom drop out, strengthening even faster than we saw with Dorian, even faster than we saw with Michael in 2018, and faster than we saw with Hurricane Laura and with Hurricane Delta. over the Northwest Caribbean here just about a month ago. The pressure's down to 934 millibars now. Here is a look at the winds, and hurricane force winds are still offshore, but tropical storm force winds are moving onshore the northeastern coast of Nicaragua and far southeastern Honduras. These will continue to move west-southwest and inland as we get to the day tomorrow. Here is the track which shows the storm as a major hurricane making landfall early in the day tomorrow, probably late morning or so, and then a weakening to a tropical storm around this time tomorrow night, and then a tropical depression on Wednesday into Thursday. At this point, it will be a remnant low, but it will likely make a hard right turn and get back over very warm water. It could take a few more days to get going, but about a week from now, I would not be surprised if we had a tropical storm or even a hurricane once again. A few days ago, it looked like there may be two separate circulations. Now it looks like the storm is powerful enough where it could hold on together, despite spending quite a lot of time over land. This would be a very rare track, but I will let you know that we've seen it before. This was Hurricane Mitch, which was a very powerful Category 5 storm in 1998. The black here is where it was Category 5. That was at the end of October, so we're only a week later, so it's happened before. And then the storm slowly drifted south and fell apart very quickly. Of course, it caused widespread catastrophic flooding and over 12,000 deaths, just a lot of loss of life, and this storm certainly has that potential as well. And then it did reemerge over the Bay of Campeche in the southern Gulf and hit Florida as a tropical storm on the 5th of November. So it's not like it's completely unheard of, even in 2020. Here's a look at what Mitch looked like at its strongest, Category 5, and you'll see our current storm is not quite that large. This is what it looked like earlier at sunset this evening. It was almost a Category 4 at that point. Here's what it looks like now. You can see that eye is not nearly as large, but the area of very intense winds are wrapping very, very, very tightly around the center. So it is definitely still strengthening, and it's actually drifting south and southwestward. A couple miles a couple days ago showed it trying to make a loop back out to sea. Now it looks like it's eventually going to get tugged inland. Question mark, is it here or here? But a pretty good likelihood this thing is still strengthening. And, you know, I would not be surprised if the pressure in it, which is 934 millibars right now, found a way to drop another 20 or 30 millibars. We may even be looking at the high 800s millibar, which would put it in rare air, as the storm is just not in a rush to move inland. The pressure has bottomed out. It's in a great spot to continue to strengthen. And if we take a look at tropical tidbits, the intensity guidance, the rapid index, the rapid intensification models were showing a Category 5 in 12 hours. They're still showing some strengthening before we get to a weakening trend after landfall. That would be a little more than 12 hours from now, so about 9 or 10 in the morning tomorrow. So that's where we're standing. Of course, we'll have some of these models I don't agree with because the storm track will be over land. We'll definitely have a tropical storm weakening to a depression, but notice there'll be, after about 5 or 6 days, a chance for it to get back over water and strengthen once again, like the CTCI model is showing. All right, so let's take a look at these tracks, and this is from Tropical Tidbits. All the models showing landfall here in less than 24 hours, probably in about 16, and then a track across the northern part of Nicaragua and then over central and southern Honduras. A couple of models continue to take it westward over El Salvador and southern Guatemala, but the majority of guidance takes it making a hard right turn towards Belize and then pushed right back over water into the Northwest Caribbean and coming closer to Cuba with a couple of models even trying to get it into the Gulf of Mexico, whether it be over Cuba or west. Again, we don't know. It could sit out here in the Caribbean for a few more days and re-strengthen once again. The wind shear looks to be fairly favorable for that to happen. And we could have ourselves, I mean, I hate to say it, but we could have a Category 5 twice. We could have a 5 before landfall tomorrow, and then maybe 10 days down the road, another Category 5. I mean, that remains on the table here, as freakish of a season it's been. And you can see the model tracks definitely are making a hard right turn here until the next high pressure ridge builds in and tries to turn it back to the north and even northwest. So I'll let you guys catch your breath here. That's definitely something that's on the table. Wind shear very low right now, and the moisture content is very high. You can see clouds filling the Northwest Caribbean, and that will continue to favor more intensification tonight. So we'll see how strong the storm gets. I mean, I would not be shocked if we saw 170, 180 mile per hour winds at landfall, which would be devastating, but that's definitely what we're looking at. Right now we've got a trough cutting through the east, bringing some very chilly air for this time of the year all the way down to the southeast. High pressure building in near Texas, Mexico, And also, we're looking at high pressure building in near Puerto Rico. As this trough lifts out, this high is what we're going to watch for. It's going to build in and push the system to the west, but then another weakness comes down and breaks the ridge up and pulls that storm more to the north and northeast, and eventually a track towards Cuba. The question mark is how hard does that turn look like it might be. Also, I will show you guys that the water temperatures remain quite warm in the Northwest Caribbean. This time of year still is favorable for hurricanes. We don't get many, but when we do, they can be very intense. In fact, some of the strongest storms of the basin have happened in here in November and late October. But the thing we haven't seen is that they've held together and affected the U.S. That could change this year as we head towards the middle of the month. So from weathermodels.com, actually, I'll come right back to that. I did show you these model tracks here from Tropical Tidbits. The HWRF model shows the storm kind of meandering and then making landfall around midday tomorrow, and of course weakening after that and going over northern Honduras and coming out near Belize. And this is Friday, and then a turn towards the northeast over the northwest Yucatan on Saturday. And here you can see it regenerates into a stronger tropical storm, and then may have a chance in here to become a hurricane once again by Sunday or Monday of next week. The GFS parallel, I know it's a little bit hard for you guys to see, shows this strengthening trend that we're showing tonight and landfall tomorrow on Wednesday, so it's a little bit slower. So there is a chance the storm could slow down a little bit more, but then brings the storm into the Northwest Caribbean Friday night and Saturday, brings it up into the Bahamas on Saturday night and Sunday, and reforms it back in the southeastern Gulf here next Sunday and Monday. It's got a weird little Fujiwara going, but has a landfall as a hurricane on the panhandle of Florida on the 10th and 11th. That's about as fast as it could happen. We've seen slower solutions like the GFS operational from earlier, take the storm over land and then bring it back over water on Friday and then turning it towards Cuba over the weekend. And then notice how erratic the storm track could be as this high begins to block it. So as we get into early next week, a week from now, it's back in the Caribbean, and we don't know for sure if it's going to hit the Yucatan as a hurricane. This model has it getting close to the southeastern tip of Louisiana. Yeah, I hate to say that. Late next week and the following weekend, and then a hurricane hitting the panhandle of Florida, and then coming right up through the Carolinas. Now, there's a lot of different spread at that point. We're talking 10, 11, 12 days out, and this could be anywhere from here to here. We've seen these models trend too far to the east, so if you're in Louisiana, this is definitely something you need to be watching once again. Even if it swipes through and moves northeast, like we saw last week with Zeta. That track has been very popular, and there's really no reason it couldn't occur once again. We hope not, of course, but certainly that could happen once again. And then I was going to show you all, and I think I lost it, but the European guidance. Oh, here it is. So this morning's, last night's European shows the weak storm coming up over the weekend into the Western Caribbean and then strengthening steadily on Monday and kind of stalling down here south of the Caymans next Monday night and Tuesday, about a week from now. But look how quickly it forms it into a powerful hurricane once again. This is a Category 5 south of the western tip of Cuba towards the middle of next week, so next Wednesday. That was the 0Z run, but the 12Z run's kind of doing the same exact thing. So the European model, which has been a little bit weaker with these systems than the GFS, which has gotten it right, is now showing itself to be potentially a very powerful storm here in the Northwest Caribbean. So that's what we're going to have to watch for. The ensembles also show several solutions coming up close to Florida, but we definitely have tracks back into the middle of the Gulf as well as to the east of Florida. So one thing's for certain, this is an awful lot of tracks showing a hurricane threatening Florida or the southeast. But the time frame is very uncertain, anywhere from the 10th of November to perhaps as late as the 17th or 18th. Hopefully out of here before Thanksgiving, but again, we really don't know. But there's an awful lot of solutions showing that threat to the southeastern United States. Finally, the Global Ensemble Forecast System off the GFS shows several solutions by the 9th and 10th with a storm near or to the north of Cuba as a hurricane, and then a track back to the west into the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll have to see about that. But a lot of solutions bringing a hurricane up into the panhandle around the 13th or 12th, or maybe even a little bit sooner. But again, there's an awful lot of spread at this point. We still don't know quite yet. So again, I'll show you the map here. You can see how the area of red continues to grow, but it continues to envelop much of the southeastern United States. I'll have more for you guys in the next coming days, but this is definitely not a certainty at this point, just something we need to be aware of, but we could see history being written at this point as well. All right, folks, well, thanks for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and have a great night, and we'll talk again soon. I'll have more videos coming up this week. All right, take care, everyone. Stay safe. God bless.